Salam alaikum friends, welcome back to the channel. Always with Younes Charfaoui. In this video, we are going to see how you can publish your Android library to GitHub Packages using Maven. Let's get started. So we start first by creating an empty Android Studio project. Let me just create a project, YouTube, like that. Let's make it testing library, and then we click finish. All right, so we do have this main activity here, but we are going to create another module here. It will be an Android library, and let's call it math library. Okay, we're going to create some basic math stuff. Let's wait for the creation part. And once it is created, yeah, exactly. Let's create a file. Let's create a Kotlin file called math utils. Yeah. So we are going to have this thing, which is pretty simple. A point class with calculate distance to. Like this will take a point and it will do some basic Euclidean distance. I don't know if I'm correct or not, but yeah, that's the point. First, we should also create like GitHub repo for that. Let's initialize this one. Nice. Now we want to publish this thing into GitHub Packages. Okay, we need to publish this into GitHub Packages. So the first thing we need to do, we need to add several stuff. At the end, we are going to be using this library from here. Right now, we are not able to do that. Can't create a point class here, right? It won't understand that this is a point class. Well, there is point class from the Android, but we are not going to use that. So we need to go here to the math library here, right? And we need to add basically a script. So it doesn't matter whether you are using like Android KTS, like Kotlin KTS or Groovy, doesn't matter. So here we need to add another plugin, which is Maven Publish. Just check it and check if it is working fine. Usually you will get something here in the Gradle. The math library publishing, exactly, there is this task. So it means like we add them correctly. Now we need to add a script that will be able to do that. But before that, we need to generate a key. Like this key, like this token, will be used to write packages from this thing into GitHub. For that, you need to go basically to your profile, to your settings. Here in the settings, go to developer settings, of course, personal access tokens here, and try to generate a new key. Now I have many keys. Try to do the classic one. And here exactly what you need to have, like in order for this to work, you need to have this write packages. You need that. If you are going to just read packages, you won't be able to publish your package, okay? Just add this and make it some specific names. That's basically all you need before attempting to do the real work. So in order to make the publication, you need to add a specific task here called publishing, like that. And here you start to add the publications you have. So we need to add this bar task for something called Maven Publication, as you can see it. And here we are going to add specific things to that Maven publication, which is such as group ID, artifact ID, and the versions. So the group ID need to be that for example, your domain name. So it will be com.ut for my case, for example, here. Artifact ID need to be my name, for example, which is math utils. This is the library name, for example. And then I'm going to have the version, and let's pretend we do have something big, such as 0.9 minus alpha, for example. And then we need to like the real artifact that will be published. So the artifact that will be published, it will be from here, this thing. Go to your math library. Here in the generated code, like if you go to the Gradle and try to launch a task for assembling this math library. Assembling. Okay, let's wait for it. Like this assemble, right? If you run this, you can run it from the command. I usually run that from here. Like this will be that AR file that will be published, the actual AR file, like the things that it's going to be published. This is kind of like a jar file, for example. Okay, so if you do assemble right here, you can run it from the command line, as I told you. You will see that a new thing will be here. For example, it will be bar. So here, go to the outputs, I think, exactly. And like you are going to see another file called like AR after the assembling. So after the assembling, be sure before you publish, you have to assemble it first. You are going to see an AR. So this name will be published. So it is math library /release AR. So we need to do that here also. Just make sure that this one matches this one, math library, and also try to make it in the artifact. That's the thing that are going to be published, okay? But now we need to give it like where to publish it and basically the different permissions that needed to be done. So after publications, try to add something called repositories here. Nice. And in the repositories, you are going to do the name, I think. Yeah, the name will be this one. It will be like GitHub Packages. I think GitHub Packages. This is the first thing. And then the URL that's going to be used, which is URL, for example. And simply you are going to do URI, and you are going to pass something long. It's going to be this one, HTTP Maven package GitHub thing. And then you need to append it with your, for example, your username or the organization we're working with. For example, this Charfaoui Younes. And also you need to add the repository. So here the repository, you need basically to copy that. Okay. So here, just put it here. Now we need the different permissions, which is the username and the token we generated earlier. For that, we need another closure called credential. And here, basically, you need two different things, which is the username. For example, for me, it's Younes Charfaoui. And you need, of course, the password, which is the token we generated earlier. So it will be some kind of token. Of course, I'm not going to post my token here. And usually the token and the username, we set it as environment variables in your PC, for example, or in your Mac, you can add it to the path or something like that. So for me, it is always system.getEnvironment GitHub user. And for the token, it's always the same. Okay. So that way I don't like put my token inside the GitHub repo, especially if it is like public GitHub repository. With that in mind, I think we can sync it. While here, of course, we are not in Kotlin DSL, so we can remove that. And let's sync. Okay, there is some problems, of course. So before that, we need to add a Maven repository for that. So it should be like the following. Now, if we try again, it should work. Build successful. Okay, that's the building, but we didn't publish anything yet. You can do the following, something like that. Gradle W and do publish. You can do that, or you can launch it from here directly in your Gradle. Check for the task. As I told you, need to assemble it before, and then check on the publishing here, launch publish. Okay, exactly. We do have some problems. So what is the problems? Could not put this thing, received 4.2 from server, and processable entity. So one possible solution to that problem was this math library, just to try to downcast it and to hit publish. Maybe that way it would work. I think it is working. Once you see it take some time, it means it is publishing the thing. I think it is working. Exactly. It worked perfectly. Now go here, and of course you must see that in the packages. Try to relaunch it or just sync it. Exactly, are going to see it. So our problem previously was that math and library was bigger letters, so you need to make them small letters, of course. That's new information. Now, after the successful publishing, what you need to do, of course, you need to use it. So we are going to do our implementation, of course. So it will be com.youtube like that. 2 points math library. And it will be 0.9 minus alpha. Now, if you try to sync right now, it won't work because it doesn't know how to go to these packages to check them. So if you are going to use a point, right, you are not going to find it. What we need to do, we need in the settings.gradle file, where is the settings.gradle file? Here, we need to add another thing for the repository. So it will be Maven, like that. And here you need to add the URL again and also the credentials. So let me just copy and paste those. It will be this thing, okay, which is the same thing, credentials and password. Sync it right now. Now it will be able to download it. And if you check it, like it will download it right now. If you go to the main activity, now if you try to see for the points, you're going to find our points. So you can define 5.0 and 3.0, and then you can do calculate distance to another point, which is the same point. Let me change this to 3 and this to 5. And basically, let's do some out here. I'm just going to run it to see if it's working fine or not. So yeah, we are going to have some variables here. So that's basically the idea on how to do this publishing thing. So it requires some attention, but also what you can do here also, you can like supercharge this thing with the custom like CD plan, okay, which is continuous deployment plan. Let me just check the lockups. So here, let me search for the system, and it will be this one. So this is the actual, it's working fine. We could import that easily. Okay, you can supercharge this thing, as I told you, with the CD plan, like continuous deployment, in which what you are going to do, you are going to create a custom GitHub action pipeline in which are going to put, let me show you an example here. So here is an example of publish YML file of GitHub action workflow. You can use it, right? So here is the idea in which you are going to do the following. Basically, you are going to have a workflow that will triggers whenever you push something to the main brush, okay, or the master brush. Or basically, you can do it whenever, like, manually. Here, the idea is that you are going to set up the GDK, of course. You are going to check out your things, then add some Gradle permissions and stuff. Here is the permission, here is the cache. Then, what simply you are going to do, you are going to assemble. Here, if you are running Gradle from other stuff other than that, you need to precede it with, like, the library, because you do have two Gradle scripts here, and then you are going to publish it with gradle.publish, which is the exact thing we did, except this one will be from like the GitHub action. Of course, you need to set up some things here to some environments because you are already using environments here, token and user. So basically, you need to set up the environments, the GitHub actor. Here, the GitHub actor will be the one merging. So, like, for example, it's Younes Charfaoui, so it will be Younes Charfaoui here. And also the secrets, please keep that secret in your GitHub secrets, okay? So that's basically all you need to know about publishing and having that continuous deployment pipeline. So to recap, it is the simplest thing in the world. What you need to do, create a task here. You can do that in Groovy or Kotlin KTS. Simply, you are going to have like group ID artifact version and artifact, of course, something like that. And basically, you can give it the permission to put things into your GitHub project. And of course, generate a token that will be able to write packages into GitHub. Of course, GitHub Packages is paid thing, so you need to be aware of that. Here is the download. I think they can give you some download stuff. So basically, you need to know what are the limits for your thing. That's basically all you need to know. Thank you very much for watching this video to the end. I hope you got the idea on how to publish things to Maven. Thank you very much for watching this video to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as always and see you in the next videos. Assalamu alaikum.